Everyone, good day to you all. Um, it's good to have you here. So this is my yearly template of what I use to track my income and expenses, savings and investment throughout the year. I draft a budget and then I'm able to actually see what I budgeted and what actually happened. So I'm going to be sharing this template with all of you. If you want to get one for yourself, the link would be in the description below. So do go ahead and check it out. So I'm going to walk through all the tabs that I have on my Google Sheets. By the way, this template works better with Google Sheets. So just go ahead and duplicate the document or the sheet before you start populating with things relevant to you. Before we proceed, I wanted to clarify something. You're going to hear me talk about tabs a lot throughout this video, and I realized that the tabs are not in frame of the entire video, and I apologize for that. So I've attached this clip here just to give you a glimpse of what I'm talking about when you hear tabs. You can see the summary tab, the charts tab, the guide. We have the budget actual January then to December, and then we also have emergency tab. So when you see me talk about tab, this is what I'm referring to. I'll try as much as possible, if possible, to insert this image in different parts of the video just to make sure that you are not confused when I'm talking about tabs. Yeah. So we have a summary tab which contains, you know, the year, the month of the year, monthly income, expenses, savings and investments, and what you have left. So this is the budget. These are the things that you plan to do each month. So let's say in January you plan that you were going to earn 250,000, and then you plan that you were going to spend, let's say, 100K, and then for savings and investment you planned that you were going to save, let's say, 150. And then if I always prefer to run like a zero budget, in the sense that nothing is left, but some people might not want to, but I definitely recommend that when you're budgeting, this what's left should be zero. So actual is, okay, what actually happened? How much did I actually earn? How much did I actually spend? How much did I actually invest? And in actual sense, what's left? Right, at the same time too, I try to run zero actual. So whatsoever I have left, I try to save or invest it. So yeah, and then this is just a percentage. It just shows a percentage of, you know, this, for instance, monthly expense. It shows the percentage of my income that I spent and the percentage of my income that I saved. That's what this, you know, is. So it's for the actual, in the sense that, like I said, from what I actually earned that month, how much did I spend and how much did I save. Pretty much easy peasy. Then annual budget, this shows, okay, how much I plan to save, or plan to earn rather, how much I plan to earn at the throughout the year, how much I plan to spend, how much I plan to invest. And then actual year also shows what actually happened, you know, your annual expense, annual savings. So I added this bucket here. That was a while back because I've been using this template for over a year. So I added it, I think about 2 months ago. Reason being that, okay, you save some emergency fund and then it's possible that you withdraw it, and then you save for personal project and it's possible that you withdraw it. So the reason why I added this is so that the emergency fund and the personal project fund, which were actually spent, when you save, you are also saving like for emergency. So you have emergency fund in your savings and investment account, and then you have your personal project fund in your savings and investment account. So the reason why I did this was so that here, when I have my actual savings and investments, I can actually know, okay, aside from the emergency fund that was actually spent, and aside from the actual personal project fund that was actually spent, how much was saved, so the real amount of savings. So let me give an example. So let's say throughout the year, I saved up a total of one million naira. I saved a total of 1 million, and out of that 1 million naira, the amount I actually saved for emergency fund was 800, I mean 200k. Let's just use 200k. And then the amount I actually saved for personal projects, maybe I wanted to buy something, or maybe I wanted to renovate my house or something like that, right? Personal project, I actually saved, let's say 400k. But remember, the total I actually saved for the entire year was 1 million. So towards December period, I had some emergencies, and then I withdrew my 200k. And then I also renovated my house with the 400k that I had saved for personal projects. So the real amount of money which I actually saved that year, in actual fact, is the 1 million minus the 200 minus the 400, which gives us 400k. So that's what's going to pop up here. That's what's going to pop up here. So you can see the sum of um B14 to M14, that's this, like the actual savings and investment, minus G27, you can see it here, like emergency fund, and then actual project. So pretty much simple, easy peasy. That's what that's about. Then we have a simple chart here just to show, your the different monthly income, monthly savings, monthly expenses on a chart. Simple, easy peasy. Then let's move to the chart tab. So the chart tab is similar to this graph we have here. Simple. So it just shows, okay, for each category what did I actually budget and what did I actually spend, and then this shows like the graph of budget versus actual for each category. I mean, using this template, you can always go ahead and generate your own graphs yourself, play around with it and stuff. I'm going to be pointing out a few things that you shouldn't touch, because it's going to scatter the whole sheet, because all the sheets are linked. So if you mess up any of the formulas, it might disrupt the entire sheet. But you're going to get a warning sign anytime you are overstepping on something that you shouldn't be editing, so that it doesn't change the flow of the document. So budget. So this budget is the most flexible, sheet in this document. I mean, you can go ahead and play around with it. So I mean, you can have maybe work 2, work 3, salary 4, whatever you want to call it, and you see that it changes everywhere else. Okay, we've not gotten to that part, but you see that it changes everywhere else. So whatever you change here would reflect on other sheets that are linked to this sheet, and most things are linked to this sheet. So whatsoever you change here would reflect on the other sheets. So for instance, if I change salary 4 to, let's say, work 4, to work 4, and I come to January, you see that it has changed to work 4. So pretty much easy stuff. Income, then you have the total of each month coming from each of the each of the income types. So let's say from work one you have 1 million, from work two you have let's say 500k, for work three let's say you have 100,000. From cash gifts, maybe you are really expecting some cash gifts that month, then I go and say maybe 500,000, just to be generous, right? So you have a total of 6.6 million naira. That's the budget for the month. So what I do is I initially take off my savings and investments, and I put here 40%. But you can go ahead and adjust this. So you can go ahead and adjust this by just tapping here or editing it. So when you edit, you can change to maybe 10%. If you change to 10%, it's going to prompt you that do you want to change this, and then you can go ahead and say yes. So if I say yes, it's going to change the total to 60,000. So what you now go ahead and do is drag this so that the formula, drag all the way to December so that the formula works across board. You see everything is now 10%. 10%. So I can Ctrl Z and Ctrl Z, and I'm back to my 40%. So it depends on your preference, how much you want to save every month from your income. So you see I have a total of 2.6 million for savings that month, and then you have total of savings and total for expenses. So after taking out your savings, this tab here indicates what you have left for expenses. So what I have left for expenses here is 3.9 million, 3.9 million naira for expenses. So we have different categories here: food and meds, utilities. So I have a guide here which has the meaning of different things that I put here. This tab is also linked to the budget tab, so this should not be edited because it has a formula. So you can see food and meds, basically food and medicine. Utilities, I put in data, airtime, subscription, gas, electricity, water, electronics. Pretty much that's what I have under my utilities. So when I'm making a purchase or I'm paying for something, and maybe I'm paying for Netflix subscription, it falls under utilities. Transportation, that includes fuel and any form of Uber or whatever and stuff. Personal care. The point is, go ahead and define your own categories. These categories might not work for you, so you can go ahead and redo it however you want. You can edit it based on the kind of expenses that you have. I mean, some people might not do charity and gifts. Some people might merge household items with miscellaneous. Some people might merge shopping with household items. I mean, whatever works for you. This is just a guide for you to create yours. So for personal care, I have here anytime I pay for something like relating to my hair, skin, lips, makeup, skincare, whatever. That's what I would normally record under my personal care. So I, pay tithe. I think tithing is important. So I set this already to 10% of my income. So it's part of my expenses. So it automatically, like, whatever my income is from here, it picks it up 10% and adds it into my budget automatically. You can decide to take that out. It's definitely your preference. If you give more than 10% for tithe, that's also fine. You can always edit it just the way I showed you how to edit the percentage for the savings and investment. You can go ahead and edit this out as well. So this shows total for expenses, like what is the total expense for each month, and then what do I have left. So when I'm budgeting, I always keep a close eye on this tab just to make sure that it doesn't go red. So for instance, let's say my budget for food is 1 million, and then my maybe offering that month is like maybe 200k, right? And then maybe I want to do some shopping as well, maybe of 500, right? That's 5 million naira there, right? You see I have 1.6 million naira left, like for expenses. So I move on and say, okay, maybe others 100k, miscellaneous. I'm budgeting 50,000 for miscellaneous, and for gifts to people, budgeting 200k, right? You see I have 1.250 left. Then I can say for utilities, I spend a lot on data and subscription, so maybe I'm budgeting 400k. For transportation, for fuel throughout the month, let's say I'm budgeting on 50,000, right? Personal care, maybe I want to go to the spa and stuff. I'm budgeting, let's say 300k for that. These are just random values that I'm inputting and stuff. So for I have 400k left. Let's say for personal development I'm budgeting 100k, and then for social life I'm budgeting 250,000, right? So you see I have 50k left. So for household items, and I'll say, oh, I want to budget 100k for household items. You see I have a 50k deficit. That's why it's in red. So it points you that when you're budgeting, right, you don't spend more than what you don't budget more than you actually have. So I mean I can go ahead and say, oh, maybe I can reduce this. What can I reduce? Maybe I can reduce my social life and say, okay, let me make it 200k, so that I have zero in my total left after expenses. But usually I would recommend that you fill this tab, just go ahead and populate with the same thing, I mean, so that you have recurring budgets. You don't have to, not like you don't have to plan every single month, but if you, especially if your income is very constant, you can predict what you typically earn every month. So I mean, you can just go ahead and drag and budget for the entire year. You have your budget that for food and meds I'm not going above 1 million. For household items I'm not going above da 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 and stuff. So that's pretty much about the expense tab. Mind you, like I said, you can always edit this place. Then for savings and investment, the kind of investments that you make, that's what you have here. Go ahead and fill this color, right? So real estate, REITs, emergency fund, low risk investment, personal projects. These are the two things I was talking about earlier when I talked about the emergency fund and personal projects. So I mean, I already, you know, put it there in a way that my budget is for each of this category is 25% of my savings fund. So I'd plan to save, remember I'd plan to save 6.6 million naira, and sorry, I'd plan to save 2.64 million, right? So 25% of that is this I set it automatically, so that it's just easier for me. But you can always go ahead and change it, like, okay, maybe for real estate you want to do 50%, and for ETFs and REITs, or whatever you want to do, maybe 20%. And mind you, like earlier, you can always change this. You can always say real estate. Maybe you're not investing in real estate yet, maybe you're investing more in treasury bills. You can go ahead and change it. Go ahead and change it, and then it's going to reflect everywhere else. Treasury bills, it's going to reflect everywhere else. I'm going to get into details of how to use the other tabs. So Pretty much that's it. Simple. Then you have the total for investment. This value here is usually the same as the value here. Yeah, so that it's a way to also cross check if there are any errors in the sheet. So monthly sum, monthly income this, monthly expense this, monthly this, net profit. Net profit means that like what's the extra you get zero because I ran a zero expense calculation budget, zero budget. So yeah, pretty much that's all about the budget tab. Remember I said anything you want to edit on this column A, you can go ahead and edit it in budget section. When we get to actual, you don't edit this because it's linked to the budget. It's linked to the budget. You don't go ahead and edit. In fact, you don't edit anything on this actual tab because this actual tab is what reflects to you what actually happened in each month. So you don't edit anything on this tab. It's just for viewing and for calculations. You can see the total, you can see the average, you can see okay at the end of the day, yes, I had budgeted um 1 million for my first work, but maybe at the end of the month, maybe it was a freelancing gig or something, maybe I got 950K. It's going to reflect here that you actually got 950K as opposed to 1 million. So it's the same as the budget tab. Honestly, it's the same, just that it reflects the actual. Everything else is the same, but it reflects what actually happened. So yeah, and I'm going to show you how this actual tab gets populated. So we're going to come to January. I'm recording this video in March, which it's a long overdue video actually. So I'm going to show you how to use this sheet proper. So we have January, February, March, April. We have a tab for each month of the year. We have a tab for each month of the year from January to December. So this is where you're going to be logging in all your expenses. This is where you're going to log in your expenses. So let's just run through it. At the beginning of the month, you input your starting balance. So maybe at the beginning of January, what you have in your account, cash at hand, all your accounts and everything is 2 million. You know what I'm talking about. So you input 2 million here. Let's go ahead and do that in practice. Or let's say 200K, just so that we have, well, let's use the 2 million since so that we can be consistent. 2 million. That's how much you have at the beginning of the month. So because you haven't spent anything, it's showing starting balance as 2 million and end balance as 2 million, meaning that you've not actually spent any money. And this tab here is actually a graph. It shows a graph of each of your expense categories, um, and so you can easily compare and contrast. You don't actually need this. I plan to take it out. I might anyway. So planned, it shows okay, you actually plan to spend 3.96 million. That is the same as the value you had budgeted here. Remember, right? That's the price you had budgeted. That oh, in January I plan to spend 3.96 million. And then it shows everything you inputted in the budget tab. Do you get? It shows everything, all the things you had planned in the budget tab. Is it pretty much the same with what's here, right? So you don't edit this yourself. Then you have the actual, right? You have the actual, like what actually happened, how much did you actually spend, and all of that. Then you have the difference. Okay, the difference is after you have spent, let's say at the end of the month, you ended up spending 950,000. What is actually left of that 150,000? That be 1 million. So remember, now we've not spent any money, so we have 1 million left. We have the same value here and here left for the difference. Same with the income tab. You plan to earn 6.6 million, and then you haven't actually recorded that you earned any money. And then you have the what you actually planned for each income stream, and then you have the difference in the sense that you've actually not earned anything. Same with the investment. You had planned to save this value for each, you haven't saved anything, and then this is the difference. That's what is left for you to save. These are actually in red. It turns to normal color when you actually hit that target. Do you get the gist? But for this, it turns red when you spend more than you had actually budgeted. But when you earn more than you actually budgeted, it turns green, or it turns to normal color, which is actually the goal. So if you scroll down, you will see three tabs. You will see three tabs: expense, income, savings. Now, like the other sheet, the from column 1 to column 39, you don't do anything on this sheet. From column 1 to 39, it doesn't concern you. You don't touch anything here. You don't touch it except for the starting balance. Don't touch anything on this um 1 to 49, 39. Yeah, don't touch it. So you come here now and say, okay, it's March 1 or it's March 2, whatever day, and I actually went to the market. I went to the market and I bought food stuff. You bought food stuff was, let's say, 500k. So you put your 500,000 here. And then you can put maybe groceries. Oops, you can put groceries, right? And then when you tap here, you can say, oh, it falls under foods and meds. So you see what happens when you do this, it comes here and reflect on the actual. So you can see that, oh, okay, I've actually spent 500k on food and meds, and I have 500k left. Let's say that month too, today you ordered Glovo, 5,000. You ordered Glovo, 5,000. On different days like that, you order Glovo and stuff. So you come here and record and say food and meds. I also like to record the dates. It helps judge your memory, and it helps judge your memory of what you actually spent each day or at whatever point and stuff. So just keep on recording day in, day out. Okay, today I bought fuel of 20,000, right? I bought fuel of 20k. It reflects here that you bought fuel of 20,000. You have 130k left for fuel, right? Let's say you bought bone straight wig, 200,000, right? And then you put this under, let's say, personal care, and then you come here. Okay, personal care, I have 100k left. Let's say now you now went for spa session plus plus what else? Nails. You got your nails done. You did makeup like twice that month, and then at the end of the day you spent maybe extra 150k on personal care. You also bought some skincare products, so we put that under personal care. So you see what happens. I budgeted 300k for personal care, but I ended up spending 350,000. So it shows here has a deficit, like, oh, you've actually overstepped, and then the point is, when you see red like this, I always advise that you try and make up for it in the other places. So maybe you don't spend so much on miscellaneous this time. Maybe you have to try and cut a bit down on the what you had planned for social life, just to make sure that at the end of the day you're not going past this 3.9 million naira that you had budgeted. So record this every day. That's the best thing. Recording every day. Maybe before you go to bed. Okay, what did I spend on today? I bought bread, I paid for fuel, I took public transport, I took Uber, I did this, yada yada and stuff. Just go ahead and record it on each sheet. On each day, you can attach the day if you want. Now, this is very easy because I mean, you can always have this on your phone. Google Sheets is very, very handy on your phone. So, I mean, you can always just record it on your phone. You don't have to up on your laptop or your tablet or whatever. It's something you can record on your phone. For income, when they pay you your 6 million. Since they paid you, how much is your salary again? 1 million for work one. For work, right? Then you can put the work you're doing, whatever it is. You can write it as description. You can write the dates. If you are using the phone version, it actually pops out the calendar that you can just tap the day, makes it easier for you. You see, it pops up here that okay, you actually got your 1 million naira and then you're not owing the shit any money again. So that's pretty much it. Same for the investment. Okay, I actually invested 600,000 naira. I actually invested 600K in real estate. I have a down deposit where I'm saving for a land, and I made an installment payment of 600K for the real estate property. You see here that the actual now is now 600K, and the one I have deficit. Deficit means that I actually budgeted 660,000 naira for the real estate, but at the end of the day I have just 600K. I've put only 600K in the investment. So I mean, that's why it's good to set your standards in the beginning. Set it well so that you have a smooth sailing from here. So that's pretty much it. You can see the pie chart is coming together. So throughout this month, you can see I spent 40% of my income on personal care. I spent 2.3% on transportation, and I spent 57.7% on food and meds. You can see my starting balance is now, you know, my end balance is now 1.2, 1.5. Now, this value is a function of the fact that I also earned 1 million naira that month. Do you get? So it takes the starting balance, it takes the income, and then determines the end balance. So the end balance you see here is a function of your starting balance and is a function of your actual. This end balance is actually useful at the end of the month when you are checking your statements and everything. So you'll be able to know, okay, did I record everything? Did I miss out something? That's number one. You'll be able to know if your bank is cheating you. If, okay, at the end of the month, let's say you're supposed to have this value, 1.25 million, and then in your bank, you can't find 25K again. You check your charges, okay, how much charge at the end of the month did I accrue? And then it's still not up to 25,000 naira. You can check your sheet, know, okay, what did I spend on that I did not record, just to make sure that everything tallies at the end of the day, because it's important. So yeah, you can see that's pretty much about the tab. It's the same with February. It's the same tab, just duplicated for February. March, April, May, June, July, August, September is the same. So when you come to actual, you will see that we now have something. Did you notice? We have our work, which is total. We have, you know, this also comes from here. It tells me what I should have actually saved. Do you get what I should have actually saved? Then we come here. Um, what I actually should have for expense. In actual fact, this tab is not useful in the actual tab, but I just left it there for consistency purposes. It's not really useful in this, part of the of the work. What I use it for is, there are some months that I actually earned more than I budgeted for, right? And honestly, it would be dumb to now say I'll use that I'll be so strict that is the amount I actually earned here that I would now save. You get? So it tells me that, okay, you earned 1 million naira while you did not earn your 6.6 million naira which you had planned. You earned 1 million, and your 40% goal is recommending that you save 400k as opposed to the 2 million naira you had planned to save. So that's what I use it for. It could be important to you, but it's not as necessary if you check it out. So you see, now that I have my actual 600k, I have my food and meds, I spent 500, 200, 3 million, and all of that. I have a deficit of 275,000 naira. Why? Because initially, what I had budgeted initially is different from what I actually like spent in a way. So I'd budgeted that I would earn 6.6 million, but I actually earned 1 million. But I was still spending based on that my budget that planned. So first, what I recommend is have a clear estimate of your earnings. Don't overestimate it. Don't overestimate it, because when you overestimate the amount that you're going to earn that month, you tend to overestimate the amount you can spend. And like I said, keep your expenses the same for all the months from January to December. Keeps prevents you from moving the goalpost irrespective of how much you earn. So let's say you earn a base salary of 6 million. This setup would move your goalposts if you don't set up the budget for the entire year. So I definitely recommend setting up the budget for the entire year. Try and anticipate expenses, set up the entire budget and stick to it throughout the year. And make sure that you are not overestimating your income. Like, look at this person now that estimated 6.6 million and then just 1 million naira. But I also understand this is an hypothetical situation. You get? I mean, if peradventure this was 10 million, right? The actual tab would have showed that, okay, the person has this total amount of money to spend left. But if you stick to your budget, do you get, you are going to have something left at the end of the month which you can put into your savings and investment. So you're going to be having surplus here as well. Like, you're going to be saving more than you had initially planned. I don't know if you understand my thought process. So that's pretty much it. Then when you come to the summary tab as well, you see that it's starting to populate. You see, okay, monthly income, monthly expense, savings and investments, what's left. I actually earned 10 million. I spent 875k. This is my saving. This is what I have left. So what I have left here can be converted into my savings. Do you get? So I can decide and say, oh, I'm taking this 8.5 million naira and I'm saving it because I don't have an expense to shoot at, and my budget is constant. Do you get? My budget is constant, so why not? So yeah, it shows that, okay, I actually saved 8.7% of my I spent 8.7% of my income and I saved 6%. Now imagine if this was larger, this is also going to be larger. It's that simple. So that's pretty much it. My income, savings, yada yada, annuals and stuff. Emergency fund. So this emergency fund is a tab that is linked to each of this emergency fund section in each of the tab. So These are a basic list of things that could be emergencies, right? So and this is my emergency fund income. So this emergency fund income means how much I actually saved for emergency fund each month. So let's go to January. Let's say we saved 1 million for emergency fund. It's going to reflect everywhere. It's going to reflect in your actual, it's going to reflect on your summary tab, and it's also going to reflect on your emergency fund tab. You see, so January you saved 1 million naira, right? So let's now assume that in December something happened, something that was not very palatable, and then you had to withdraw maybe some home repairs, and then you had to withdraw 500k, right? Your end balance 500k here. You get the value of your withdrawals, like how much you've actually withdrawn 500k. What did you spend it on? Home repairs and stuff. So when you come to your summary tab, it's going to show here that you saved 1 million and then you withdrew 500k for emergency fund. And then your actual savings here, if you remember, the total we actually saved is 1.6 so far. Do you get my point? Like the actual we've actually saved for January. You know it's only January we recorded 1.6 million. But in the annual, it's going to show 1.1 million because I withdrew 500k. So that's what I was trying to explain at the beginning of this video. So yeah, pretty much for personal project, I didn't include a tab here for it because I felt it's something that you probably are saving for and know the amounts that you actually spent. So you'll be able to find out the amount for personal project that you actually saved. It's going to pop up. Let's say you saved 200. Let's say you saved 700k, right? For personal project. It's going to pop up here that you save 700,000, but I assume that you would know the amount you actually withdrew for personal projects. You would know, okay, the personal project I was focusing on, maybe I wanted a trip to the Maldives, right? And it's going to pop up here if you put your 500,000, 50k, and it's going to adjust here as well, meaning that you spend some of your savings. So that's pretty much all about this sheet. If you have any further question, let me know. I'll definitely be willing to answer. Like I said, this sheet, the link to this sheet will be in the description box. Go ahead and check it. Thumbs up. I love you guys. See you in the next one.